families, the bad news of the loss of their beloved ones was limited to receiving a Western Union telegram a few days or weeks later containing a rather terse message informing them of the death of their loved one. Details were scarce, the prose very military. The devastated families learned to live with their grief. Many fathers and mothers never truly recovered. And besides, how could anyone recover from such a tragedy? Few families were able to come to Normandy to pay their respects after the war. It was a different time and a different era. In 1948, the American government offered families the opportunity to repatriate the remains of soldiers to the United States or to have them rest alongside their brother-in-arms in Normandy. It was a difficult choice. From the very beginning of this project, our long-term friend, Colonel Paul Herbert, I have no idea where he is, over there, accepted the mission of attempting to locate the family members of the missing soldiers. Paul spent an incredible number of hours and even days and months searching for descendants and made countless attempts to contact them. He met with families. Very often, these meetings led to the discovery of photos, documents, insignia, sometimes a burial flag, that had been peacefully sleeping at the bottom of a suitcase or in a closet. I'm personally very grateful to Colonel Paul Herbert, who worked tirelessly with us over the years, and it's with great gratitude and respect that, thanks to him, we can now welcome families of the missing soldiers. The circumstances of our C47 crash are partly recounted in the book Into the Valley, written by Colonel Charles Young, whose friend Yves Tariel is also with us today. And Charles Young was the pilot of the Orgonia, the lead aircraft of this formation to which our plane belonged. French civilians as Yves Tariel and Lucien Harlet found the engines and traces of the plane after the war. The tragic fate of the men aboard our C-47 perfectly illustrates the harsh reality that many soldiers faced. The C-47s were to participate in this huge D-Day military operation at the forefront of the fight, since they were to be integrated into the start of operations a few hours before the amphibious assault on the Normandy beaches, dropping about 17,000 paratroopers behind the enemy defenses lines to disorganize it and protect the main lines of communication and therefore allow the progress of the freshly landed troops. Operation Albany is the name code for the D-Day airborne operations. A few days before this invincible armada takes off, crews and paratroopers are consigned in their airfields. 850 C-47 Skytrain planes are prepared to take off from England to drop off paratroopers in Normandy. At Upotery, Devon, Charles Young and his officers are secretly studying plans for their future assault mission. As of June 2nd, Charles Young planned all the sequences of the dropping operation which concerned him and meticulously prepared his briefing, then revealed the plan to the pilot officers of his group. But due to bad weather conditions, Operation Albany did not begin until the 5th of June. Thus, in combat formation, on the night on the June 5 to the 6th, the 439th Group commanded by Young headed for Normandy. The first C-47 took off from a secret air base, dropping their first Pathfinders on French soil around 1:15 a.m. on June 6. At 10:50 p.m., Charles Young and his co-pilot Adam Parsons led their C-47, the Orgonia, to the runway, followed by 80 other C-47 planes, including ours. On the Channel Island, the moonline offers an excellent visibility. In the narrow cockpit of the Argonia, flying to the tidal waves, all was well. The 80 C47 followed Young's and Parsons' Argonia perfectly, skillfully nested together wing to wing. After moving west to Barfleur, the formation climbed 500 meters to avoid the German anti-craft defenses located on the Channel Islands. After making a final course correction, which should have led them to drop zone C near Sainte-Marie-du-Mont, Young saw the Normandy coast and then immediately entered in a cloudy area. It has been a long nightmare for the crews. Constrained and forced, Young flew on instruments, wing in wing, and without any visibility that they had to deviate significantly from each other to avoid collisions. Aware of his responsibility as a leader, Charles Young concentrated all his energy on maintaining the 150 meters in height at each the C-47 has to make parachute drops and locating his drop zone in the west of Sainte-Marie-du-Mont, right behind the Holdy battery, which was, by the way, occupied by 50 German soldiers. But a tragic fate brought them into the firing range of several German anti-aircraft defenses concentrated between the villages of Pont-l'Abbé and Picoville. The first C-47 passed and caught the attention of the German troops. As the plane approached the drop zone, the fire was more and more aggressive and combined with light flak and machine gun fire. Master Sergeant's plane flies in the fourth wave in Child 32 in this formation. Aboard, the 16 paratroopers from the stick of Lieutenant Kenneth Beatty of C Company of the 506 Parachute Regiment. According to cross testimonies of a pilot, which is described, by the way, in the book written by Charles Young, of a pilot and another plane of the formation of Charles Young and of the French who were present on the ground, it is very likely that when Sergeant's plane was flying a mile southeast of Saint-Sauveur-le-Vicomte, he was hit by German anti-aircraft fire. This attack was extremely violent and aggressive. The plane stalls nose down in flames. A few seconds later, a German machine gun located in the courtyard of a farm located in Picoville probably also hit Sergeant's plane. The plane crashed right here. It's in the middle of our field. There were no survivors. The American troops temporarily buried the bodies and human remains of the men who died in our field in one of the temporary cemeteries of Sainte-Mère-Église in the very little village of Blauville. In 1948, the bodies were transferred to the American cemetery of Colville-sur-Mer, of course, for the families who make that choice, and others have been repatriated to the United States according to the choice of their families. 81 years later, we want to honor these soldiers who perished in dramatic conditions. Their souls rest here forever. Each soldier is now represented by a Virginia tulip tree, a species typical of their native land, with a majestic habit that rises towards the sky. As you probably have noticed it, the tulip trees have been planted so that the 4 crew members are together, gathering in an arc, and the 15 paratroopers are together in a V form like they were flying in V formation. Seen from the sky, the set of trees also represent a parachute. Dear friends, yes, this place is assembled and pays tribute to the 20 soldiers who gave their lives for our freedom, the freedom of France, the freedom of Europe, and the freedom of the world. I like to think that they are watching us today. And now asking Mrs. Perrot, the mayor of Picoville, for her speech.
Chers amis, cette année encore, nous sommes réunis au Memorial Garden pour honorer ces 20 jeunes valeureux soldats américains venus de ces lointaines contrées, arrachés à leur terre natale pour nous rendre notre liberté, au sacrifice de leur vie et libérer notre pays le 6 juin 1944. Alors que la France vit sous le joug ennemi depuis 4 ans de vie de restriction, de peur, de terreur pour certains, sous couvre-feu, une vie de privation matérielle, intellectuelle, une vie de privation de liberté. Dans la nuit du 5 au 6 juin 1944, une armada venue par-delà des mers, de lointaines contrées d'Amérique et d'ailleurs, ont débarqué à l'assaut des plages normandes, appuyés dans leur action par l'aviation larguant des centaines de parachutistes. Tous participent à cette gigantesque opération militaire du jour J. Hélas, beaucoup d'entre eux ne verront pas le sol normand. Tous ces jeunes gens, de toute unité confondue, aviateurs, parachutistes, marins, fantassins et autres, fauchés par la mort à l'aube de leur jeunesse, meurtris dans leur chair, dans leur esprit, dans leur cœur. Ce jour J, le jour le plus long, fut pour certains une source d'espoir, et pour tant d'autres, il fut le jour le plus court, un jour de malheur. Le 8 mai 1945, l'armistice a sonné la paix. 81 années de paix à ce jour. À tous ces hommes, nous leur devons cette paix, si chère à notre cœur et qui règne sur notre sol français. Jamais une si longue période de paix, hors conflit larvé de terrorisme, n'aura duré aussi longtemps. Paix ô combien fragile, quand aux portes de l'Europe, les bruits de bottes se font encore entendre, et ce depuis l'aube de l'année 2022. Guerre qui rugit, qui jette sur les routes tant de femmes, d'enfants, de personnes âgées, handicapées, si démunies, si désemparées, si désespérées. Guerre qui jette hors de leur pays tant d'innocents, proie de l'esprit guerrier des dirigeants de ce monde. Rappelons-nous que rien n'est jamais définitivement acquis, que la paix d'un continent peut être menacée que par la folie des hommes. Aujourd'hui, c'est eux, et demain. Question que nous devrions tous avoir à l'esprit. N'avons-nous rien appris de l'histoire pour qu'elle se répète? Ce jardin a été créé à l'initiative de l'association Picoville se souvient et dont le concept était d'avoir un lieu de recueillement pour tous. Ceci nous démontre que la volonté et la pugnacité de certains Picovillais à mener sans relâche des recherches pour que ce jardin voie le jour n'était pas un vain combat. Pour les familles de ceux identifiés dans ce jardin, c'est du baume au cœur que de savoir où sont tombés l'un des leurs. Que ce jardin mémoriel reste jamais assez. Nous nous rappellerons aux jeunes générations qu'ils doivent porter très haut les flambeaux de la liberté et de la paix. À tous nos libérateurs, nous leur devons notre reconnaissance éternelle. Et en particulier à M. Charles Chez, ainsi qu'aux 2 vétérans ici présents. Merci. Merci. Merci à tous de votre attention.
Dear friends, once again we are gathered here at the Memorial Garden to honour these 20 brave young American soldiers who travelled from far away, snatched from their motherland to give us back our freedom by sacrificing their lives and liberating our country on the 6th of June 1944. It was a time when France had been living under the enemy yoke for 4 years. 4 years of restrictions, fear, terror for some, curfew, a life of material and intellectual deprivation, a life deprived of freedom. On the night of the 5th to the 6th of June 1944, an armada set sail across the Channel, carrying men from the USA and beyond, landing in the early hours on the beaches of Normandy. They were backed up by an airborne assault, dropping hundreds of parachutists, all taking part in the gigantic operation of D-Day. Alas, many of them will never see the soil of Normandy. All these young men from different units, pilots, parachutists, sailors, infantrymen, and others, cut down prematurely at the dawn of their youth, wounded physically, in spirit, and in heart. This D-Day was for some a source of hope, but for many others it was the shortest day, a day of misfortune. On the 8th of May 1944, the armistice rang out peace. It has been 81 years. We owe this peace which reigns on French soil and so dear to our hearts to these men. There has never been such a long period of peace, not taking into consideration the acts of terrorism. Peace, how fragile, when at the beginning of 2022, at the gates of Europe, the sound of boots was heard again. War, which roars, which casts into the streets so many women and children, the elderly, the handicapped, the destitute, and the distraught. War, which casts out so many innocents, prey to the warlike intent of the leaders of this world. Let us remember that nothing lasts forever, that the peace of a continent can be threatened by the folly of man. Today it is them, and tomorrow? A question that we should all keep in mind. Have we learnt nothing from history that it should repeat itself? The initiative to create this garden came from the Association Picoville Souvient, with the idea to create a meeting place for everyone. There was a willingness and a tenacity in certain people from Pickerville to move forward in their research so that this garden could come to fruition. For the families of those named here, it heals their pain to know where their loved ones fell. Let this memorial garden remain a place of peace so that we never forget the sacrifice of these young men. And we can never remind the younger generation enough that they must carry high the torch of peace and freedom. We extend our recognition to all our liberators, in particular to Mr. Charles Norman Shea and to the gentleman here today. Thank you. Thank you to everyone present.
I'm now asking Maurice Renaud to join me for his speech and remarks.
Madame le Maire, civil and military authorities, our dear veterans, the two veterans who are here with the group from Jeff Wells from San Antonio, Texas, Mr. Yves Tariel, who is very well known for his work on the C47. Welcome to this really beautiful place. And I wish, as the president of the Friends of the American Veterans Association, who built not far from here the U.S. Paratrooper Memorial in Lafayette to commemorate for the Battle of the Bridge of Lafayette, to tell our gratitude to Marie Pascal for achieving this really wonderful place, which she did, and it took a lot of efforts. She did a great job buying the land and then planning. I think the idea of this being on the ground is really magnificent. So Marie Pascal, you are a wonderful lady for doing that, and I think you should applaud her.
Yes.
So, you know, it's great to see that the Normans are expressing deep gratitude to the American liberators who sacrificed being killed or wounded, and for a country which was so far away from them. For people of which they did not even speak the language, they did not have any direct links with the people who lived here. They were coming from Texas, from Oklahoma, from California. I mean, it was a complete foreign land. And to sacrifice themselves for liberating us especially that a lot of them, like in the paratroopers, they were 17, 18, 19 years old. This is really fantastic. And we have, and 81 years later, I'm proud to see that we still have very strong ceremonies and beautiful ceremonies to express our gratitude. And I think it's fantastic. Because, I mean, if you go to Iraq, if you go to Afghanistan, if you go to Vietnam, there are no ceremonies for the American soldiers. But here we recognize and we always want to express our gratitude. Now, je vais faire un petit commentaire en français, je ne vais pas le traduire. Il se trouve qu'il y a eu quelques dégradations sur ce site et je déplore vraiment que ces dégradations aient été réalisées non pas par des voyous qui venaient de la banlieue parisienne ou ailleurs, mais par des locaux. Et ça, c'est vraiment impardonnable. Je ne citerai personne, mais franchement, je déplore ce genre d'attitude qui est gouvernée par je ne sais quoi. Mais franchement, ça a coûté en plus à Madame Legrand beaucoup d'argent pour rétablir supprimer ces dégradations. Voilà. C'est une petite parenthèse que je ne vais pas traduire en anglais. So anyway, Marie-Pascale, you accomplished a wonderful job and we are very grateful for you to do that and we love what you did. Thank you very much.
I'm now asking our dear friend Emma Brown, who will sing Danny Boy for us.
Oh, Danny boy, the pipes are calling. From glen to glen and down the mountain side. The summer's gone and all the roses falling. Tis you must come, and I must come. But come ye back when summer's in the meadow, or when the valleys are hot and white with snow. 'Tis I thee then, sunshine or in shadow. Oh, Danny boy, oh, Danny boy, I love you so. And when ye come, though all the flowers are dying, and I am dead, as dead I well may be, we'll come and find the place where I am lying, and kneel and say an Ave there for me. And I shall hear the soft you tread above me, and all my grief shall warmer, sweeter be. For you will bend and tell me that you love me, and I shall sleep in peace until you come to me, and I shall sleep in peace until you come
Thank you so much, Emma. I'm now asking Paul Herbert and the two representatives of the families to join me here. Today is an exceptional day. All the work we have done over these years is for the families. So we are very thankful for the families to have crossed the ocean to be here with us today.
Merci, madame. Bonjour, tous les membres, tous mes amis. Bienvenue. That is about as much French as I can attempt. It is a great honor for me to introduce the two gentlemen standing next to me. They are Preston Thompson, a retired U.S. Army Command Sergeant Major, a veteran of the war in Vietnam, and a veteran of the 1st Infantry Division. His brother, Benjamin Wynn, was killed on this field in the crash of our C47 aircraft. Next to him is Mr. Bob Barron from outside of Chicago, Illinois, a businessman whose uncle, Kai Casimir, was the co-pilot of this C-47. Before I introduce their remarks, I would like to introduce Bob's sister, the niece of Kai Casimir, the co-pilot, who is with us today. Nancy, please stand up. And I would ask the rest of the Barron party to stand up and be recognized. And also the Thompson party. And there are two back here. Sergeant Major Thompson has brought his son-in-law and 3 grandsons, and we're particularly pleased with that. Thank you. Let's give them a round of applause. So first, Sergeant Major Preston Thompson to speak of his brother Ben.
What I have to say about my brother is strictly from when I talked to my mother and my older brother about him. I was only about 3 years old when this war started. My brother Benjamin Franklin Wynn Benjamin, like the rest of us, grew up in a very poor portion of McDowell County of West Virginia, coal mining company area. We raised the food we ate. Like my mother always said, boy, if you don't got to grow that corn, you're going to starve this winter. Most of the boys dropped out of school in the 6th or 7th grade, simply to go home and help raise the crops and work and support the family. That was totally in the whole area of southern West Virginia. And we were no exception. Brother Irvin, Ben, and Paul all just had a sixth grade education. But those three guys went to war willingly in World War II. Ben was the second son of 9 children. He was named after his grandfather. He was his mother's favorite son, according to his brothers. He was also the shortest one in the family. He was only about 5'2", so my mother referred to him as her little man. My brothers always said he was sort of a daredevil type guy growing up. Seemed to be afraid of nothing. And any challenge that he could take and run with, he did. He would accept any challenge. He was also a kind-hearted guy. He loved family. On his last trip home, he took what little bit of money he had and went and bought a young heifer and gave it to my mother. Now, he trained in Georgia on a mountain down there, and they called it Currahee. That must have made an impression on him because he named that cow Currahee. From reading all of his letters and things, which Colonel Paul here can verify, and I've got a footlocker full of them, he was somewhat of a ladies' man. He wrote his mother every chance he got. I went through and looked at the letters, and on an average, he wrote once a week. My mother used to sit at night and read his letters and cry her eyes out. I can remember this. Brother Ben, like all his brothers, where the souls rest right here, he was incredibly resilient. He had courage to accomplish the mission, and I salute all of them. I would like to take this moment to thank Marie, Paul, for everything they've done for me and my family, getting me here and setting this up. I had no idea this was here until I was contacted by Marie. And I thank you very much. Anybody had anything to do with it, I thank you very much. God bless you.
Ce que j'ai à dire au sujet de mon frère Benjamin Franklin Wynne vient de ce que ma mère et mes frères aînés m'ont raconté à son propos. Je n'avais que 3 ans lorsque Ben est décédé. Nous avons grandi dans une région très pauvre de Virginie occidentale. Nous élevions ou cultivions tout ce que nous mangions. La plupart des garçons du coin quittaient l'école vers la 6e ou 5e pour aller travailler et aider à nourrir leur famille. Nous ne faisions pas exception. Mes frères, Irvin, Ben et Paul, n'ont reçu qu'une éducation jusqu'en 6e. Pourtant, chacun d'eux a fièrement servi dans les forces armées. Ben était le 2e fils d'une fratrie de 9 enfants. Il portait le nom de notre grand-père. Selon nos frères, il était le fils préféré de notre mère. Maman l'appelait son petit homme. Mes frères disaient de lui qu'il était un casse-cou, qui ne semblait avoir peur de rien. Si quelque chose représentait un défi, c'était pour lui. Il avait bon cœur et voulait toujours aider les autres. Lors de son dernier retour à la maison, il a acheté un veau pour maman et l'a appelé Curry, du nom de la montagne en Géorgie où il s'était entraîné. D'après ses lettres, c'était un vrai charmeur avec les femmes. Il écrivait à maman chaque fois qu'il le pouvait. Elle s'asseyait, lisait ses lettres et pleurait. Ben, comme tous ces hommes, était courageux, incroyablement résilient et avait le courage nécessaire pour accomplir sa mission. Et je les salue tous. Je tiens à remercier tout le monde, et en particulier Marie, Paul et tous ceux qui ont participé à ce jardin commémoratif. Merci à vous tous d'avoir rendu cette expérience possible pour moi, ma famille et les autres familles de ces 20 soldats et aviateurs courageux.
Thank you, Elise, and we'll ask Bob Barron to speak.
Hi, my name is Bob Barron, and I'm here because of my uncle. He's Lieutenant Steve Casimir to the U.S. Army. He was Casimir actually to the Polish Air Force. He was Kai to his family. To understand a little bit about Kai, let me share a little about where he came from, and it sounds an awful lot like your brother's story. He came from an immigrant family. His parents both came from Poland, settled in Chicago, raised 5 boys, 1 girl. At home, they spoke Polish. My grandmother was actually fluent in both Polish and German. And still, she worked for the kids, just on and on. The only English she knew was such a big boy, and thank you. By the time the Second World War started, the family was involved. My uncle's eldest brother, Stan, was served on Guadalcanal, which was in the Pacific. It was one of the major battles there. Anthony was a Navy diver out of Norfolk. His identical twin, Ray, was a machine gunner on a torpedo bomber preparing for the invasion of Japan. By the way, Ray was my father and my sister's father. My grandmother worked in a bomb factory, which I still can't imagine. Kai did something unusual. He took advantage of I think, maybe an opportunity for him. 19 days after Pearl Harbor, he was able to join the Polish Air Force through a recruiting station in the Chicago area. He shipped up to Canada. He trained in Canada. And then he flew target tugs at RAF Dalcourse in Scotland for aerial gunner training. In 1943, he transferred to the U.S. Army and Air Force in London, flew back to the States for multi-engine training, and then returned to England to prepare for the invasion of Normandy. Quite honestly, growing up, I would have expected to hear lots of stories from his siblings. I mean, after all these guys were in the war. None of them would talk about their own experience. All they ever wanted to talk about was Kai. You know, he was the one who, if family lore is correct, was actually given the opportunity to stay stateside as an instructor pilot. You know, instead, he chose to get the multi-engine training and come back here. Much of what's happened until recently has been quite a mystery, though, to the family. As Marie said, the communication from the Department of Defense at that time wasn't great, and for good reasons. My grandmother was absolutely convinced that he wasn't dead. He hit his head, forgot who he was, and was living here in France. And nothing could ever convince her otherwise. You know, in reality, he died here, or maybe up there somewhere, along with 19 other guys. Thank you. My sister and I have gotten to know him well because we still have his logbooks, both his RAF and his U.S. Army. We have his letters between my father and him and all of the other brothers. Their biggest concern through this whole thing, and you talk about a cow, well, they didn't have cows in Chicago, but his last letter home was just, hey, if something happens to me, make sure Mom, my grandmother, got the survivor benefits for the kid, the two youngest ones in the family. I really want to thank you guys for this memorial garden. I don't even know where to begin and what it means to us. As a high school kid, all I wanted to do as far as, I never wanted to come to Europe except for one thing. I wanted to go to Kai's grave, which I actually got to do Friday or yesterday. You know, the vets say the real heroes are the ones who never came back. And I think he's clearly one of those. You know, on behalf of my family, I'd really like to thank everybody involved in this. This just means so much. And maybe thank you from my grandmother's perspective, dziękuję, which is Polish for thank you. Again, thank you.
Bonjour, je m'appelle Bob Baran et je suis ici aujourd'hui pour rendre hommage à mon oncle, le lieutenant Steve Casimir Baran, connu de sa famille sous le surnom de Kai, ainsi qu'aux 19 autres courageux parachutistes et membres d'équipage qui ont péri avec lui à bord d'un C47 lors de l'invasion du jour J. Pour comprendre qui était Kai, permettez-moi de partager un peu de l'histoire de notre famille, en particulier pendant les années de guerre. Kai venait d'une famille d'immigrants. Ses parents, tous deux originaires de Pologne, se sont installés à Chicago et ont élevé 5 garçons et une fille. À la maison, on parlait polonais. L'anglais s'apprenait dans la rue et à l'école. Ma grand-mère, qui parlait couramment le polonais et l'allemand, ne connaissait quelques mots d'anglais. Such a big boy et thank you. Pourtant, elle a travaillé sans relâche pour subvenir aux besoins de ses enfants après la mort de son mari, survenue quelques années avant la guerre. Quand l'Amérique est entrée en guerre, chaque membre de la famille a fait sa part. Son frère, Stan, a servi à Guadalcanal dans l'armée. Anthony était plongeur dans la marine à Norfolk. Ray, le frère jumeau identique de Kai, était mitrailleur dans un bombardier torpilleur des marines, en préparation pour l'invasion du Japon. Ma grand-mère, quant à elle, travaillait dans une usine d'armement. Dans cette atmosphère de service et de sacrifice, Kai a emprunté une voie peu commune. Le 26 décembre 1941, seulement 19 jours après l'attaque de Pearl Harbor, il s'est engagé dans l'armée de l'air polonaise via un bureau de recrutement à Chicago. Il s'est entraîné au Canada, puis a servi en Écosse, à la base RAF d'Alcross, comme pilote de remorqueur de cible pour la formation des mitrailleurs aériens. En mai 1943, il a été transféré dans l'US Army Air Force à Londres et est retourné aux États-Unis pour suivre une formation sur l'avion multimoteur, puis est revenu en Angleterre pour se préparer à l'invasion de la Normandie. En grandissant, je m'attendais à entendre de nombreuses histoires de la guerre de la part de ses frères et sœurs. Mais ils ne parlaient pas d'eux-mêmes, ils parlaient de Kai. Pour eux, c'était lui le héros. C'était lui qui était parti 2 fois outre-mer. Celui qui aurait pu rester aux États-Unis comme instructeur, mais qui avait choisi de repartir combattre. Pendant des décennies, ce qui était arrivé à Kai est resté un mystère pour notre famille. Les communications durant la guerre étaient rares. Ma grand-mère a toujours cru qu'il avait survécu et qu'il vivait quelque part ici en France, ayant perdu la mémoire. Mais la réalité est la suivante. Kai a donné sa vie en pilotant le jour J du débarquement, transportant des parachutistes qui seraient parmi les premiers à poser le pied au sol. Lui, ainsi que les 19 autres âmes présentes dans cet avion, ont tout sacrifié pour la cause de la liberté. Grâce à ces carnets de vol et aux lettres échangées entre frères, ma sœur Nancy et moi avons pu apprendre à le connaître d'une manière que peu de gens peuvent expérimenter lorsqu'ils perdent un proche à la guerre. Et parce que lui et Kai étaient des jumeaux identiques, nous avons eu un aperçu rare de ce que pouvait être Kai. ses gestes, son sourire et même son rire. Dans sa dernière lettre à mon père, Ray, Kai a formulé une seule demande, que si quelque chose lui arrivait, mon père veille à ce que leur mère reçoive ses indemnités de survivants pour aider à s'occuper des deux plus jeunes frères et sœurs. C'était ça, Kai, courageux, humble et altruiste. Je tiens à remercier chacun d'entre vous pour ce magnifique jardin du souvenir. Je ne sais pas pourquoi, parmi les 42 C47 perdus durant l'invasion et les 2500 parachutistes morts ce jour-là, ce groupe a été honoré ici. Mais nous en sommes profondément, sincèrement reconnaissants. Comme le disent souvent les anciens combattants, les vrais héros sont ceux qui ne sont jamais revenus. Beaucoup d'entre eux reposent aujourd'hui, tout près, au cimetière américain. Voir le nom de Kai honoré ici, en ce lieu sacré, a bien plus de sens que ce que je pourrais exprimer avec des mots. Enfant, je m'étais fixé comme objectif de visiter un jour la tombe de mon oncle. Aujourd'hui, grâce à vous, ce moment a dépassé tout ce que j'avais pu imaginer. Au nom de notre famille, merci. Merci encore, du fond du cœur.
So merci beaucoup. I'm now inviting Gerald van Friesen for his remarks.
Thank you very much. I'm sorry. Chère Madame Perrotte, chère Madame Lebrun, ladies and gentlemen, general officers, very honored veterans and family members, comrades. I would like to thank you all for coming and giving me the opportunity to take part in this important commemorative event and to speak to you as a representative of the German Air Force. We're standing here 81 years after D-Day on one of the most symbolic sites in European history. The beaches and villages of Normandy, as idyllic as they may seem today, were the scene of unimaginable violence, suffering, and bravery on June 6, 1944. This is where the liberation of Europe from the Nazi terror regime began. For us Germans, this day is a day of humbleness. It is a day of gratitude to those who, with their courage and determination, laid the foundations for peace and freedom, also for our own country. Without the commitment of Allied soldiers, many of whom fell in the prime of their youth, Germany would never have been able to find its way back into the family of nations. We are deeply grateful for this. But today, we are not just remembering, we also acknowledge. We acknowledge our historical responsibility. And we acknowledge our lasting obligation to preserve peace, not just in words, but through deeds, through partnership, through solidarity. The fact that we are here today, German, French, Americans, British, Canadians, and many others standing side by side is not a matter of course. It is the result of reconciliation, of political and human decisions, of the courage to work together. This friendship over graves, over former hostilities, is a symbol of hope, especially at a time when war and violence has returned to our Europe. Russia's brutal war of aggression against Ukraine has reminded us all in a harrowing way. Peace is not a given. Freedom is not free, and the European peace order must be defended. With political will, with economic strength, and if necessary, with military deterrence. That is why it is good and important that we are not only honoring veterans today, but that young soldiers from many nations are also gathered here. They stand for the common European and transatlantic commitment that we can only protect freedom and security together. The graves and memorials here in Normandy remind us that we must never forget. But they also remind us to act resolutely, in solidarity, and always aware of the lessons of our history. Dear friends, the memory of June 6, 1944 is both a warning and a mission. May we never allow the bond of friendship between our people to be torn apart. May the spirit of reconciliation and cooperation that was born here in Normandy guide us today and in the future. I salute all the active servicemen and the veterans. Thank you very much. Merci beaucoup.
I'm asking Lieutenant General Jason Hines, the Deputy Commander of U.S. Air Force, and I think we will have the flyover on time, right?
So I hope we have the flyover on time. And if it's in my remarks, I'll pause the remarks to allow us to all at least enjoy the flyover of some C-130. Say good morning, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, members of the Association Picqueville Say Souvillon, veterans, visitors, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Lieutenant General Jason Hines. I'm the Deputy Commander of U.S. Air Forces in Europe and Air Forces in Africa. It's an absolute honor and a privilege to join you here today to represent our airmen and our guardians and the families on this sacred ground. To the people of Picqueville, thank you for creating and preserving this historic site. Your enduring commitment ensures the memory of our shared history is never forgotten. I'd also like to extend the warmest of welcomes to our most distinguished guests, the families of our World War veterans, Flight Officer Steve Barron and Private Benjamin Wynn, and our two veterans that are in the front row today. Your courage shaped the course of history, and your presence here today reminds us that freedom has a face. It looks like the families of Braun and Wynn, and it looks exactly like your faces here in the front row. 81 years ago, this quiet corner of Normandy was anything but peaceful. In the dead of night on June 6, 1944, squadrons of C-47 sky trains roared overhead. Aboard were young men, many not long out of high school, bracing for their first, and for some, their final combat experience. These men were the first to strike a blow against tyranny on D-Day, and their successful airborne operation paved the way for the Allied landings at dawn, and ultimately the liberation in France and all of Europe. This airborne assault that preceded the beach landings was a monumental risk. Darkness, enemy fighters, and shifting winds made precision nearly impossible. But those crews, they flew anyways. 19 C-47s were lost in the operation, and many airmen never saw the sun rise, and yet their mission succeeded. Paratroopers landed behind enemy lines, disrupted the axis of defense, and helped clear the way for Allied troops storming ashore. Today, we remember those who never made it back. We honor their example by carrying their mission forward. Their courage wasn't isolated to one night. It set the tone for generations to follow. As we honor these heroes, we must also remember the civilians of Normandy, the families of Picqueville and beyond who faced incredible hardship and loss during those dark days. Their resilience and sacrifice amidst the destruction was vital to the success of the liberation and serves as a powerful reminder of the true cost of war. This memorial garden stands not only as a tribute to the Allied forces, but as a symbol of the enduring friendship and shared sacrifice between the United States and France. The people of Normandy have preserved this sacred ground with deep respect and care, ensuring that the story of freedom and sacrifice lives on for generations to come. We must continue to look ahead to the challenges of tomorrow, The foundation we have built upon for the past 81 years enables our combined forces to continue securing the skies over Europe. The heroism, honor, and sacrifice of the Allied forces on D-Day will always resonate with the U.S. Armed Forces and our allies and partners across Europe. So let us remember those who paid the ultimate sacrifice for the freedoms we enjoy today. Let us honor those who survived and came home to build a better world. And let us ensure that their sacrifice was not in vain by meeting today's challenges with the same resolve, the same clarity of purpose, and the same commitment to freedom. I'd personally like to thank the band, the color guard, and the formations of soldiers and airmen standing shoulder to shoulder behind me. They're a visible demonstration of the commitment to the security of the European theater for the decades to come. Thank you very much. Merci beaucoup.
Bonjour, distingués invités, membres de l'association Picoville se souvient, vétérans, visiteurs, mesdames et messieurs. Je suis le lieutenant-général Jason Hines, commandant adjoint des forces aériennes américaines en Europe, forces aériennes en Afrique, et c'est un honneur et un privilège de me joindre à vous ici aujourd'hui pour représenter nos aviateurs, nos gardiens et nos familles sur cette terre sacrée. Aux habitants de Picoville, merci d'avoir créé et préservé ce site historique. Votre engagement durable garantit que la mémoire de notre histoire commune ne sera jamais oubliée. Je voudrais également souhaiter la plus chaleureuse bienvenue à nos invités les plus distingués, les familles de nos vétérans de la Seconde Guerre mondiale, l'officier d'aviation Steve Barran, soldat Benjamin Wynne. Votre courage a façonné le cours de l'histoire et votre présence ici aujourd'hui nous rappelle que la liberté a un visage et il ressemble aux autres. Il y a 81 ans, ce coin tranquille de Normandie était tout sauf paisible. Au cœur de la nuit du 6 juin 1944, des escadrilles de Skytrain C47 vrombissaient au-dessus de nos têtes. À bord, les jeunes hommes, dont beaucoup venaient tout juste de terminer leur étude secondaire, se préparaient à leur première et pour certains, à leur dernière expérience de combat. Ces hommes furent les premiers à porter un coup à la tyrannie le jour J. Leur opération aéroportée réussie ouvrit la voie au débarquement allié à l'aube et finalement à la libération de la France et de toute l'Europe. Cet assaut aéroporté qui précéda le débarquement sur la plage représentait un risque monumental. L'obscurité, les chasseurs ennemis et les vents chaotiques rendaient la précision quasi impossible. Mais ces équipages volèrent malgré tout. 19 C-47 furent perdus au cours de l'opération. De nombreux aviateurs ne virent jamais le lever du soleil. Et pourtant, leur mission fut un succès. Les parachutistes atterrirent derrière les lignes ennemies, déstabilisèrent les défenses de l'axe et aidèrent à dégager la voie aux troupes alliées qui débarquaient. Aujourd'hui, nous nous souvenons de ceux qui ne sont jamais revenus. Nous honorons leur exemple en poursuivant leur mission. Leur courage ne s'est pas limité à une nuit. Il a donné le ton aux générations suivantes. En rendant hommage à ces héros, nous devons également penser aux civils normands, des familles de Picoville et d'ailleurs, qui ont affronté d'incroyables épreuves et pertes durant ces jours sombres. Leur résilience et leur sacrifice au milieu des destructions ont été essentiels au succès de la libération et nous rappellent avec force le véritable coût de la guerre. Ce jardin commémoratif est non seulement un hommage aux forces alliées, mais aussi un symbole de l'amitié durable et du sacrifice partagé entre les États-Unis et la France. Les Normands ont préservé ce lieu sacré avec un profond respect et un soin particulier, veillant à ce que l'histoire de la liberté de la liberté et du sacrifice perdure pour les générations à venir. Nous devons continuer à anticiper les défis de demain. Les fondations sur lesquelles nous avons bâti ces 81 ans permettent à notre force combinée de continuer à sécuriser le sol européen. Il suffit de penser au 37e escadron de transport aérien. Il perpétue son héritage d'excellence et de service depuis la Seconde Guerre mondiale. De plus, la 8e force aérienne, qui a joué un rôle déterminant dans la victoire de nos alliés, demeure un élément essentiel du commandement d'attaque globale de l'armée de l'air, en tant que seule force de bombardier stratégique de l'armée de l'air prête à déployer la puissance aérienne américaine partout dans le monde, au service des intérêts américains et communs. L'héroïsme, l'honneur et le sacrifice des forces alliées, le jour J, trouveront toujours un écho auprès des forces armées américaines, de nos alliés et partenaires à travers l'Europe. Souvenons-nous donc de ceux qui ont consenti le sacrifice ultime pour les libertés dont nous jouissons aujourd'hui. Rendons hommage à ceux qui ont survécu et sont revenus bâtir un monde meilleur. Et veillons à ce que leur sacrifice ne soit pas vain en relevant les défis d'aujourd'hui avec la même détermination, la même clarté d'esprit et le même engagement pour la liberté. Merci beaucoup.
Thank you. I'm calling Emily, Emily Sintor, who is our U.S. Counsel for Western France.
Madame la maire de Picoville, Mesdames et Messieurs les représentants des autorités civiles et militaires, Monsieur le Président des AVA, Brigadier General von Ferschen, Lieutenant General Heinz, dear veterans, dear family members of Flight Officer Steve Baron and Private Benjamin Wynne, chère Marie Pascal, chers amis, it's an honor to stand before you today in this serene and solemn place, the C47 Memorial Garden, to pay tribute to the 20 brave American servicemen who made their ultimate sacrifice on June 6, 1944. We gather here today to remember their courage, their dedication, and their unwavering commitment to the cause of freedom. C'est un grand honneur de me tenir devant vous aujourd'hui, en ce lieu calme et solennel, le jardin commémoratif du C47, pour rendre hommage aux 20 courageux militaires américains qui firent ici le sacrifice ultime le 6 juin 1944. Nous nous rassemblons ici pour nous souvenir de leur courage, de leur dévouement et de leur engagement indéfectible envers la cause de la liberté. On that fateful morning, these young men embarked on a mission that would forever change the course of history. They left behind their homes and their families and their dreams to fight for a world free from tyranny and oppression. Their journey ended tragically in this field, but their legacy endures. Ce matin fatidique, ces jeunes hommes se lancèrent dans une mission qui allait changer le cours de l'histoire à tout jamais. Ils laissèrent derrière eux leur foyer, leur famille et leurs rêves, afin de lutter pour un monde libéré de la tyrannie et de l'oppression. Leur mission se conclut tragiquement près de ce champ, mais leur héritage perdure. So as we walk through this garden, we are reminded of the profound impact of their sacrifice. Each tree planted here represents a life cut short and a story left unfinished. But their memory will live on in the hearts of those who cherish their bravery and honor and their service to a higher cause. En parcourant ce jardin, nous prenons conscience de l'impact profond de leur sacrifice. Chaque arbre planté ici représente une vie écourtée, une histoire inachevée. Pourtant, leur mémoire vit dans le corps de ceux qui chérissent leur bravoure et honorent leur service dans la défense d'une cause supérieure. So I would like to extend a very special thank you to the World War II veterans who are here today, as well as to the family members of Flight Officer Steve Baron and Private Benjamin Wynne, who perished on that C-47. We are so honored by your presence here today, and it's a poignant reminder to us of all the personal sacrifices made by so many and by so many families during the Second World War. We're deeply grateful for your journey across the Atlantic to join us in this commemoration. You, the members of the C-47 crew, and the families are the true American heroes, and we are forever grateful. So it's our duty now to ensure that your legacy lives on. Je voudrais adresser ici un remerciement tout particulier aux vétérans de la Seconde Guerre mondiale, présents parmi nous aujourd'hui, ainsi qu'aux membres de famille de l'officier de vol Steve Baron et du soldat Benjamin Wynne, deux victimes du C-47. Nous sommes très honorés par votre présence ici, et c'est un rappel émouvant pour nous tous des sacrifices personnels effectués par tant de familles pendant la guerre. Nous vous sommes profondément reconnaissants d'avoir traversé l'Atlantique pour vous rejoindre à nous lors de cette commémoration. Les membres d'équipage du C47 et vous êtes des véritables héros américains. Et nous vous en serons éternellement reconnaissants. Il est maintenant de notre devoir de veiller à ce que votre héritage perdure. Today we also celebrate the enduring friendship between France and the United States. From our nation's very beginning, almost 250 years ago, to the present day, our two countries have stood together, both in times of peace and also in times of conflict, united by a shared commitment to liberty. The people of Picoville, along with the Charles Shea Association led by Marie-Pascale Legrand, have shown extraordinary dedication in preserving the memory of these American heroes, and for that we are eternally grateful. And this garden is not just a place of remembrance, but it is a symbol of this enduring alliance and mutual respect between our two countries in the past, in the present, and for the future to come. Aujourd'hui, nous célébrons également l'amitié durable entre la France et les États-Unis. Depuis le tout début de notre nation, il y a près de 250 ans, jusqu'à aujourd'hui, nos deux pays ont été unis, en temps de paix comme en temps de conflit, par un engagement commun envers la liberté. Les habitants de Picoville, ainsi que l'association Charles Shea, menée par Marie-Pascale Legrand, affichent un dévouement extraordinaire afin de préserver la mémoire de ces héros américains. Et pour cela, nous leur sommes profondément reconnaissants. Et ce jardin n'est pas seulement un lieu de souvenir, il est aussi un symbole de l'alliance durable et de respect mutuel qui existe entre nos deux pays dans le passé, le présent et l'avenir. So as we stand in this place of reflection, 81 years after the beginning of the momentous Operation Overlord that would lead to the liberation of France and of Europe, let us renew our commitment to the values for which these men fought. Let us strive to build a world where democracy and liberty prevail, and where the sacrifices of the past are never forgotten. Alors que nous nous tenons en ce lieu de réflexion, 80 ans après le début de l'opération Overlord, qui allait mener à la libération de la France et de l'Europe, renouvelons notre engagement envers les valeurs pour lesquelles ces hommes ont combattu. Efforçons-nous de construire un monde où la démocratie et la liberté prévalent et où les sacrifices du passé ne sont jamais oubliés. Let us also reaffirm our commitment to the alliances like the Franco-American friendship that continue to this day to protect and defend these values. Et réaffirmons également notre engagement envers les alliances, comme l'amitié franco-américaine, qui continue aujourd'hui de protéger et défendre ces valeurs protégées. Vive la France, vive les États-Unis, et surtout vive l'amitié qui nous unit. Merci.
Now asking Emma, and she will sing Amazing Grace.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch
Thank you so very much, Emma. I'm now inviting all of you, each and all of you. You have the program, I hope so, and we have the program, and at the back page of that program, we have a prayer. It's an unknown author, but I really like this poem. So let us pray together, loud together. Airborne at last, my helmet is now a halo. Wings replace my chute. To fly amongst the eagles, no soldier would dispute. No aircraft is needed to take me to the sky. Your prayers from below have lifted me so high. My spirit is my engine, no need to refuel. No runway is required, a rainbow's edge will do. No need for maps and compasses, my angels are my guide. Their strength and love have gifted me to soar the sky with pride. The heavens here are endless, my soul's now free to roam. There is no need to cry, my friends, these paratroopers found his home. Airborne all the way.
All the way. Thank you.
So we'll now have taps of our different countries. They will play. So I'm now inviting. I'm now inviting each of the representatives of association or entities who have a wreath to take their wreath now, and we will place them around this small place.
Little mic. Let me take it out. Thank you.
Yeah.
And we will place the flowers here.
Thank you. Okay. And let So let's have that our national anthems, please, sir.
Present.
The ceremony is now over. Cette cérémonie est maintenant terminée. I would like to thank each of and all of you for being here and honor our families and our veterans today. Thank you so very much for the bottom of my heart. Possible to have a group photo right in front of the flowers?
Sous la tonnelle, vous avez donc les membres de l'association Charles Che. Et vous avez un certain nombre de goodies, de livrets. On a un livret qu'on vient d'éditer en français sur le C47. Voilà, donc si vous voulez participer à l'association et la soutenir, vous êtes les bienvenus sous la tonnelle verte.
No, don't worry. It's okay.